Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to yet again another episode of the AFC podcast. You are now listening to Inside the AFC. My very special guest today is an entire quartet of the film Monster. We got filmmakers Sebastian, we got Alessandro, we got Andreas, and Diletta all working together on their latest accomplishment called Monster. Welcome, guys, to the AFC podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
I'm glad you came. So if you'd like, go ahead, introduce yourselves, and we'll get it going.
So my name is Sebastian Aguirre. I'm a filmmaker based in New York City. I've been around the city for around 4 years now, and I've had the pleasure of working with amazing people here. And our latest project has been Monster, which is a project that it's about a couple who are both, one is filmmaker and another one is an actress, and how they have to struggle with their work identities and how that affects them separately.
Hi, my name is Andreas Ktorides. I'm a Cypriot American actor. I've been living in the city for about 3 years now. I play Joel, the lead in Monster, and yeah, happy to be here.
Welcome.
Hello, I'm Diletta or Dilly, and I'm an Italian actress that is now based in New York City. I've been here for about 2 years now, so I'm still pretty new, but I've had the pleasure of working quite a lot in these past few months. And one of my latest and best project that I was part of is Monster. And my role is Ava, and I'm Joel's girlfriend, and I'm an actress in the short too. So that was pretty, I relate to that a lot. And I'm really excited to be here too. Thank you.
Hi. Welcome, Dilly.
Thanks.
Hello, my name is Alessandro Gianviviano. I'm an Italian-American actor. I'm born and raised in New York City, and I have had the pleasure to work with this wonderful trio of artists. I play Cole in Monster, who you could say is the antagonist and Dilly's co-star in the short film within the film.
Exactly.
And I'm super glad to make everyone's acquaintance.
Yeah, I gotta ask. I guess my first question would be for Sebastian. So did you write the whole story yourself, or did you have any collaborators?
No, yeah. So it was pretty much myself, and it's a very interesting topic to me, how couples within the industry go about themselves, mostly because I see shows like Euphoria and other HBO shows that like to exploit and show a lot of nudity and sexual behavior, and I always wonder how their partners feel about it. And this is a very character-driven story on how Joel, the boyfriend of Ava, has to deal with the fact that she has to do all of this. So it's a very interesting dynamic, because there's no bad person in the scenario. It's just a ugly situation and how the characters go about themselves. So yeah, it's very interesting to me, and these guys really did a good job portraying their part and just bringing something new to the table based on experiences or just character work. So
it was a very character-driven piece.
Yeah,
for sure.
So like when you talk about a little bit like Euphoria, were you referring to like outside true relationships of the actors?
Exactly. Yeah. So we've all seen parts of Euphoria, or just the whole show as a whole, and there's very intense sequences. So in my mind, I'm like, if my girlfriend wasn't that show or something, how would I feel? How would I, I know it's acting and all, but there's still a sense of intimacy that's portrayed in there that it's hard for maybe some people to acknowledge and deal with that in a normal way. And we see this with this character, where he doesn't take it in a good way. He struggles a lot mentally and physically, and that's what the story's about.
I think that was the very first challenge my wife and I actually had, because I did back in 2016. I got my first nudity implied role where I had to kiss a girl on camera, and it was one of those things where I had no, I guess, I don't want to say respect. It's not the right word, but I had no idea how to handle how she would feel about me just doing my job. Because up until that point, it's like, I'm just doing my job. I'm sorry. Like, what am I supposed to do? But yeah, I'm over it now.
Oh yeah, it's for sure. It's a hard transition. I'm guessing it's it's part of the job. It's part of your artwork, but at the same time, like maybe your partner is not well accustomed to that stuff, because it's not a typical relationship per se. You have to give up part of that intimacy in order to be able to deal with it, and that's interesting to me.
I think it's made even worse when you have to be the one watching it and participating in the creation of art. Mm-hmm. And I think Joel comes to a very tough moral conundrum where he realizes this opportunity for his girlfriend is like special, right? But he has to watch her do this scene with another man. And with filming, it's always like start and stop, different cut, do it again, do it again, do it again. And it's definitely hard.
So Andreas, what's your background as an actor?
My background as an actor, I'm from the island of Cyprus, which is, for everyone who doesn't know, it's a small country. We're off the coast of Greece and Turkey. I went to school in New York. I went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. I graduated in 2020. I'm a pandemic grad. Very fun. I moved back to the city about a year ago. I mainly kind of started in theater, but I really love the filmmaking process. So I did a lot of short films, and that's actually how I ended up meeting Seb.
Fun fact, I was actually adopted Crete.
No.
Well, Crete is really close to Italian. We're kind of like Italian adjacent almost.
The one thing that got me through college was working at Olympic Pizza, and my Greek parents. I get adopted a lot. My Greek parents ran the pizzeria, and I learned pecadisto, bacalao.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's about it. Lukumades, okay, why not?
Hey, lukumades are amazing.
You don't know what
Delicacy.
you're out if you don't know what that is.
Yeah, I know. It's so good. I like they're like Zeppelis, but better, Alessandro. That's how I would.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. I was completely lost for a second.
It's like imagine Zeppelis drizzled in honey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honey is everything when it comes to the Cretes and the Greeks, and like, I didn't know that actually Cyprus was its own country. I really thought that was an old country that was sort of adopted or included, similar to what Sicily did with Italy, that type of relationship.
I'm not trying to bore anyone with history, but we're a fairly new country. We got our independence in like the 60s. And we've sort of been owned by everyone, like the British, the French, the Venetians in ancient history, the Ottomans, the Greeks, Yeah,
that was
Romans, like everyone.
So now it's just like, we're going to just do our own thing. We got our own theater. Do you have your own language, or is it Greek?
No, we speak Greek. But it's like a dialect of Greek. So.
Gotcha. Awesome. All right. So Dilly, I wanted to ask you the same question. Like, what was your background when it comes to being an actress? How'd you meet these guys? And what was your takeaway from performing as Ava?
Sure. So as I said before, I'm from Italy. Actually, I'm from the north, close to Milan. There's a very small city called Crema. And if you watch the movie Call Me by Your Name by Luca Guadagnino, that's my town. And that's how people will know it, because otherwise, it's.
I'm going to look it up as you go through your monologue. Go ahead.
I moved to New York in 2021, and I came here to study acting at the Atlantic Acting School. And I graduated last year in December, so I'm pretty fresh out of school. But now I'm so happy to be done. It was an amazing experience to go to acting school for sure, but I'm really happy to be done and to just be working. So I've been working a lot, both in theater, short films, and now I'm about to do my first feature film. So I'm really excited about that. And how did we meet? We actually met on another set before, Seb and I, and then I think that while we were on that set, you were casting for your short, and I applied to it without knowing that we already met. It was like a whole thing. And then like we just realized the moment that I came in for the audition or something like that. Something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Because she did work for one of my another filmmaker friends, and I saw her act, and I was like, wow, she's really good. And at the same time, I was doing casting. I was like, that'd be great if she applies. And I think it was a couple of days after I looked through backstage because I did my casting through backstage, and I'm like, I think I know this girl from somewhere. Yeah, no, she was great to work with on set. So I already knew she had a good like vibe on set, and that's a very important thing for me, for everybody to get along and have a good positive attitude on set.
And collaboration. I think something that I love so much about like this group of people and also other, crew members is how everybody was very supportive and like had just so much great energy to just collaborate in the best possible way. And so, yeah, that's how I met Seb. And then through Seb, I met Andreas at the callbacks, actually. Yeah. And then I just met Alessandro on set instead. So that's like how we all got together. And it was an awesome collaboration for me. I had so much fun working on this. And I love so much my character, Eva, and also the themes of this film are really interesting. And I think that we can really relate to this, because like the jealousy that can come from, like as an actress, I've been there, like that. It's really hard to, really make your partner comfortable when you have to do that intimate scene. And sometimes intimacy is not just like a sex scene. Intimacy can come in so many different like shapes, and it can be just, just a kiss, or even just the relationship, then the chemistry that you have to have with the other actors, with your co-stars, to really portray with honesty and truthfulness a story and certain characters. And of course, like it's all fiction, but then you really have to bond and have that chemistry there. So I think it's really hard sometimes to deal with that, to really have, that's my job. And my job is also create those dynamics and that chemistry. And then I have like a life and like a romantic life outside of set. And we need to find a way to not make them interfere in a negative way. And I think it's really hard sometimes for partners to really understand that, especially if they're not in the industry. But then sometimes when they are, because you know how much that chemistry is real, even if it's not like sexual or romantic.
Sure. No, I totally understand, because like, acting is it's a very mysterious art form, if we could call it that. I've had so many battles in my spiritual development on what it is that we're actually doing. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but like I've made so many discoveries between like an actor being sort of like this conduit and this initiator between both the physical realm, the spiritual realm, and all of these things just kind of channel through your consciousness, and that's what people see, or at least that's what the camera actually captures. It's very weird. And I've had emotional growth and disabilities from all these different characters I played, whether there was intimacy or not. But just literally walking in the shoes or getting in the mindset of somebody who is not you at all, on what it actually does to affect you, and the balance you have to actually have when you go home. like some of that, it's really hard. I don't know if you've experienced it yet, but to shake it off and just like let go of the character, how quick can you turn it on or turn it off? Or is there even a switch, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really tough, especially because like at the end of the day right now, especially like everybody's trying to really portray like with honesty and truthfulness. So that's like, and certain feelings that we feel as our characters, like, I don't know if our body knows the difference between like what we actually feel and what we induce ourselves to feel in order to portray a character well. So it's very tricky, and it's important to, you know, really take in your partner's feelings and how and fears, and I think that Eva did a really good job, you know, with Joel to she did. Don't look at me like that.
Oh, it's no spoilers. No spoilers.
I'm a staunch supporter of Team Joel. I'm not actually.
I'm also Team Joel in this regard. Yeah.
My guy.
But okay, so like now I just have to really ask the duration of the film. Is this a short? Like how long do you think the story is going to be?
It's a short. It's going to be roughly from 25 to 30 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. But I guess I'll just jump ahead over to Alessandro. Did I say that correctly?
Sir.
All right, so you got to be the kissed by fire Italian that I've ever seen in my life. I just got to tell you that right now.
You know, we have a very famous story in my household that my dad's all Italian, half Northern, half Southern, Terracini, and the other. It's not Palermo. It's just outside. Completely it's going to come to me later, but. According to my 10th grade English teacher, our summer assignment was to read Beowulf, and they read off all the names in the class, and they got to me, Viviano, last in the class. I raised my hand, and she goes, "Oh, Italian, redhead," and I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "You know, fun fact: Beowulf's people actually came down and raped and pillaged Alessandro's people, and that's why he has red hair." So that was a good first day of 10th grade for me. It was very light. She meant it as a joke, and she was a very cool teacher aside from that, but definitely staked the claim. Aside from that, I was actually born here in New York City to two performers. So the idea of job description infidelity, acting opposite another partner, was very prevalent in my household, as both of my parents were doing it and had those conversations as I was growing up. Both my parents started in theater, and my mom has transitioned a little bit into television and film, but still on her career-long path as a theatrical artist. My dad, the same way. He does concerts around the country still, and they're happily together to this day, real icons. So they were able to have those conversations and overcome them to a certain point, which was really telling, because when I got the script for Monster, I had to have the same conversation with my girlfriend, of course, and telling her that this is part of the job and it is important to tell stories that are not hyper focused on. I hadn't actually seen a piece about dealing with sexual interaction on a set with someone, especially in front of the boyfriend. It's an incredible premise, and obviously I won't give any spoilers away, but it is very incendiary, I will say, is a big word, but I think it covers it. But yep, born and raised in Manhattan, and my parents put me in dance class and vocal lessons at the age of like 4. And then I decided that I wanted to play baseball and basketball instead. So all of that went to the side, and I focused my life as an athlete until I got to high school. And long story short, I went along with my friend just in support, because I'd always sung in chorus, just on the side. And one of my friends wanted to audition for this theater program in the city that was designed as the intermediary between children who have aged out of their Broadway careers in Lion King or Les Mis, and were looking for top end training prior to becoming adults on Broadway. So this program was called Kids Theater. It's still around today. Its alumni are really coming into their own now, which include Ben Platt and Michaela Diamond, all theater based, and they're incredible and real good ambassadors for the program. I did a couple shows there and I realized that I was raised by artists and storytellers, and that's what I was destined to be. So I went to the Hart School of Music for musical theater, took tap every morning, which was interesting. Definitely a weird juxtaposition from baseball practice every day. But I graduated in 2018, so I am the elder statesman of this group. And yeah, I was very lucky to find Sebastian, Andreas, and Diletta, and very wonderful artists to tell this story with. Very lucky.
Well, you guys do seem like an outstanding team. There's definitely a lot of friendship and what's the right word for it?
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie is exactly what I was going to say. Yes, there's camaraderie amongst you guys. And it's like, you know, I always find it interesting on how well like stories come together and storytellers come together and how that actually shows on the screen. And then all of a sudden you got to trust the editor and the director that, okay, watch this. But here's my curiosity. Now, what do you guys hope to gain after going through this process of all the discoveries you made, or what discoveries did you make throughout this process on the subject, on like finding a solution to a problem, or just like becoming sort of like not ambassadors to what the story is really about, but sort of like breaking the mold on talking about the job? Like, what were the discoveries you guys all made? I guess we'll start with Sebastian.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, it does help in a way because I have my girlfriend, she's an actress. So I haven't had to go through this kind of scenario yet, but it does help me understand that it is a job. And even though I'm aware that it's going to be hard for me, just trusting, trust is a big part of the job, and understanding the other person, knowing that there's that sense of we're together in this, and I support you and you support me. I think that helped me in my personal life, and it's going to continue helping me. And in the more technical area, I think this was one of my first times working outside of school with filmmakers that I met from school, and they're amazing people. I cannot stress this enough. The connections you make in school really go a long way, and we're gonna help build each other up. We're there for each other, and I'm so lucky to have these people in my life. They helped me through this whole process of staying up late with me and just giving me all the support I need, as well as these amazing people. You guys, the actors, did amazing. They did more than I could have ever asked for. They listened to me and even came up with better ideas that I could have ever hoped for. So, I really I don't take this for granted. This is not something that everybody gets to do. Filmmaking, it's a great experience, and it's how do you say, it's
satisfying, or
no,
what are you trying to say?
it's sorry.
Say it in Italian, and then we'll see who.
No, it's when I'm so sorry. I forgot the word, but it's great, and it's something that not everybody gets to do in the world. And the fact that we get to tell these stories and work with each other and help each other and learn from each other, it's really great. And I'm really happy that this got to be. And I'm sure we're gonna work together again in future projects. And yeah.
How about you, Andreas? What'd you discover?
So I think from like an emotional perspective, well, I'm like the only one who wasn't in a relationship like during the like process of filming. So I think when it came to my journey as Joel, I think Joel is a very relatable character. I think he experiences a lot of things that you can relate to. I think he finds himself like he's very insecure. He's very I think he always feels like he's disregarded, I think, in his field, when it comes to just like he feels like he's looked over in the sense. He feels like he's not seen. And I think that's like a lot of things that people can relate to. The like the insecurity, the jealousy, I think it's things that us as humans, we all experience, especially when we're letting someone else into our lives as well, like regardless if we're actors or not. And I think the interesting thing was just Joel keeps on making the wrong decisions. He's also kind of like you describe like Cole is the antagonist. Feels like Joel is almost kind of like a villain. He's the villain to himself because he makes a lot of wrong decisions. And I think that's also relatable as well. And so I think from a meta perspective, looking outside, I was like, okay, I kind of learning more about myself and like learning about life in that kind of sense, which is always which I'm grateful for as an actor, because you always learn about yourself whenever there's a role. And and from a technical perspective, I think is the first time that I've ever been a lead in a film, theater, anything. And I'm very grateful for Sebastian to ask that of me, because he came to me one day and he was like, I want you to be in this film as the main character. And as an actor, I think like we all want to be wanted.
Yes, I can relate.
And it's a very like exciting, but also like humbling, and you want to do the best job that you can. So so from a technical acting perspective, I think it was just very interesting to go through that process and have that and learn from my co-stars and be on set where maybe there's a little bit more pressure, or not pressure, but I guess pressure that you put on yourself, because it's an entirely new experience. And us as actors, we always want to do the best job that we can and go above and beyond. So I found that to be a very fruitful experience. Like I look back on it with complete like rose tinted glasses.
What is that supposed to mean?
I guess like it was kind of a harrowing process in the sense that like Joel goes through a lot emotionally. There's a lot of just sad scenes. But when I look back on it, I'm like, oh, that was such a good time. That was such a good time. I had so much fun doing that. I had so much fun like crying in front of Diletta. I had so much fun like being doing all this like emotionally heavy stuff. And
I'm glad you used the word pressure, because you have a full understanding that the stakes were definitely there, and the humility factor that you're responsible for it. And I think that's the biggest challenge for any director, is to like really trust his gut and just know that like this actor has the ability to handle it. And if you got the right team really supporting you and backing you up, like it's all going to flow. And I'm sure that's exactly how it turned out, unless there's something you guys want to tell me.
No drama.
No drama. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm really glad you said that. Congratulations on the lead. I didn't want to circle back until everybody went through, but why exactly is it called Monster?
So it's very interesting to me. It's more based on the main character and how he goes from this person hurting to, I don't want to spoil anything, but the place where he ends at the end of the film, it's a very different place to where he began, both mentally and physically. So yeah, we don't want to portray this person as he's all right or he's completely in the wrong. It's a little bit of both, but the decisions he makes are definitely not the right decisions to make. So that leads to becoming, yeah.
So he acted a lot on, like that's it. That's a curious thing on self-control and what actors have the ability to do, and in reality, on how very little control people have over their emotions, and sometimes they can be very impulsive and make a horrible decision or a mistake where they don't really like understand like that there is, in reality, there is no take two. You ever feel like as actors, like maybe you have sort of like a tighter grasp on your emotions compared to some people in reality?
Honestly, no.
Honestly, no. All right.
I was waiting for that from you, Andreas.
I like it was either me or you saying it. So, but yeah, I don't know. Like us as humans, we go through stuff, and like I think that's just a facet of life. I think to be an actor is to be kind of aware and to have like I'm incredibly self-aware, but also I think like everyone has their own moments of just being neurotic or being, stressed or having moments of heightened emotion. I think what makes us like actors is the ability to kind of know what that feels or to jump in those places without compromising who we are as people.
I think that's like a big difference though. Cause as for example, as a person, I'm somebody that is always like overthinking and tries always to do the right thing. And I'm trying to like behave in certain ways. I think that like when we, like as actors, when we're portraying a certain character, we have the freedom and the possibility to make mistakes. And also like most scripts are not like usually portray characters that are going through something very specifically. And I feel like that in those scenarios, we can go bigger. Like we have the possibility, or at least that's how I feel whenever I'm portraying certain characters. Like I can just break down and like have a panic attack if like in that moment my character is going through certain things. Well, like I feel like in real life, especially if like I'm with people or like in a public space, like I would always try to control myself better. Well, like with our characters, we have the possibility to go bigger and to really follow our impulses in a ways that we think that that's good for our characters and to tell this story. Well, in real life, I think we're always more self-conscious about like how we behave, especially in like public situation. I don't know if I'm making any sense right now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I think I do. Sometimes I think if we use sort of like maybe the actor's tool belt a little bit, and you actually separate yourself and try to approach a character a certain way versus the character you portray as this idea of yourself. Agenda comes to mind. Like what is your personal motive? Like what is your agenda? What is your overall intent as the character and as yourself? And I think those are very key elements to creating a character and separating yourself from that character. I've always caught myself sometimes accidentally, because I'm not like, I never wanted to become an actor. I didn't even know I could be. I was a construction worker growing up. My dad was a firefighter. Those are things all I wanted to do. And then all of a sudden I knew that my mother had a background in musical theater, acting, and all that stuff. I didn't know I could do it until I went to college. And I kind of felt like I was an imposter for a long time because I wasn't like that same kid growing up. I'm not that same kid. And I feel like I'm trying to be something I'm not. And that's exactly why I'm not getting any acting roles or any jobs, because I'm not being maybe honest with myself. So of course I quit acting many times, got sucked back in many times, and trying to figure out like who am I supposed to be? And then to what you were saying, being self-conscious. I think I get insecure about so many things because I don't know, like my gender role, my adulthood, my being a man, all these things really come into play, especially as you get older. But I think it really does come down to the motive. Like what is it that you want? Like get a little spiritual maybe, because you are a person, we're all human. What were you put on this earth to do? You guys seem to have done something very brave, and you talked about a subject in the workplace and created, I guess, a dynamic. Maybe I didn't even see the movie. I can't say dynamic. You guys actually approached the idea of something and made discoveries about that thing while keeping humanity a part of the story. Do I kind of got that right? It sounds like.
Yeah, it's very like character driven. So I think that we all really try to create our characters, like to bring them to life in a very three-dimensional way. And I think that I haven't seen it either, but like from my experience working on it, I think that we did a pretty good job with that.
Did you read the whole script?
Sorry?
So did you read the whole script, Sebastian? Did you only give her lines and say, I'll work with the rest? What happened? You don't know.
Okay, I'm a script analysis nerd. I feel like I read the script at least like 40 times, and I analyze like every single scene, also like the one that are not mine. I'm a nerd in that, so you can't say anything like that
That's
to me.
cool, because I read it like 41 times. So
Wow.
Okay.
I only read it once, so no.
efficiency.
No, but all right. I guess just to go back, like Diletta, what was your takeaway or discoveries that you really made, maybe about yourself, that Ava gave you permission to discover about, like, because you're an actress, you could relate to the character.
Sure.
What were your discoveries?
I'm not sure about my discoveries. I feel like, first of all, I really like my character a lot, and I think that she's really strong. She's really loving. I think that she's really trying to have a very healthy relationship with Joel, where there's communication and where there is like respect, and she's really trying to make him feel comfortable because she knows how painful this can be. But she's also, she's not stupid, and she's not gonna, like, this is her career, and she's also very focused. I think that there are many similarities in this, because like she's really focused, and I'm too. And so she's always like, I love you so much, and I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna be with you in this, even if it can be, hard and painful in our relationship. But also she's like, this is my career, like you can get in the way of me doing my job. Like, she's very professional, and she knows what she wants and where she what she want to arrive to. So she has like very much her goals clear in her mind, and I really love that about her. I'm not sure what what I learned for sure, like on a technical note, I learned for sure like that this was my first intimate scene, my first like sex scene on a set, and that was a whole experience because it was my first time working with an intimacy coordinator, and we had the best one. Seb, like, you did an amazing job to bring Willow. She's an awesome intimate coordinator. I recommend her so much because she made her feel so comfortable. There was so much conversation from the beginning. We walked through the scene many times, and it was like a whole choreography. So I don't know about you, I'm gonna just talk for myself, but I felt super comfortable in every single moment of this process, even if we were actually like half naked and doing like a sex scene, but it felt super professional, and I felt really safe, and I knew at all time what was going on, exactly what were the scenes and what were we seeing. And usually like we are more focused on acting and what we need to give, like in a performance way. But in this case, to really feel safe and comfortable, it was really important to really understand also the technical, more of a technical part of it. So like what exactly was in frame and what we were trying to achieve with the like we were trying to do that in a very, fast and efficient and safe way. And I think that that went incredibly well. And thanks to like, you know, during when we filmed that scene, like we had a very big crew in general for this film, but during the intimate scene, it was just like three more crew members. So it was like much closer. And so like we also felt more comfortable doing that. So that worked really well for me. So
yeah, to piggyback off. Oh, sorry. To piggyback.
Yeah, go on. I'm done.
No, it really was a surprise. Again, like Diletta, it was my first time in an intimate film scene. I've had to portray intimacy on stage quite a few times, but as anyone who's ever made a film knows, it's completely different. The angles you cover on stage compared to the up close and personal of the camera, it's two different worlds. So again, big shout out to Willow. She did a wonderful job. The technical aspects of it were always made to make us feel comfortable. And obviously you go in thinking, okay, we're going to walk through it beat by beat. It's going to be very casual. And it was. So it was nice to have that confirmed for us. We were just friends in a room making art and telling a story, which is why we were put on this earth, in order to have others live vicariously through us and perhaps confront different emotional and physical problems in their own life through the characters on screen. I think any story worth telling will help someone out there who perhaps is dealing with this same emotional trauma, who in real life cannot express it as well as they can understand it when seeing it in front of them and seeing how humans interact with the intimacy of, you know, their girlfriend with a co-star. Again, a very specific topic, but something you don't really think about unless you're that person.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Sebastian, all the credit to you for actually like really orchestrating this in a way where you really wanted to do it. Like you wanted to do this the right way. And it seems like these guys all back you up tremendously. And not too many people would actually take that step of getting a coordinator to really make sure that you guys are like, it's a job now. Like you guys are really you're staying within the lines. Like, you know, you're making art. And it's also like you ever see a blueprint of a skyscraper and how like meticulous things could actually be? It seems like you didn't actually cut corners or skip any steps.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it was to make sure that, you know, my actors feel comfortable, and even their partners and whatnot, because it is a job and we're trying to make art, but at the same time, it's for us to have fun and make something beautiful. And the best way of doing that is by making sure everybody is along with the ride and feeling comfortable along it. So
how big was your overall like ensemble, would you say?
Like my cast and crew?
Oh yeah, like, you know, you're the captain of the ship, you got a crew, you got a cast. Like how many people do you think you're responsible for?
It's roughly 15, 20 people, I'd say. And everybody worked their ass off. Everybody did amazing. Everybody stood up later than they had to, overhelped pretty much. And I can thank that enough from everybody, you know.
And what's your next step? Like, what was your, okay, so as a filmmaker, do you feel like you accomplished answering any questions about this story that you really wanted to, like, how personal was this story for you?
I'd say it was very personal in a sense that my girlfriend's an actress, and at some point I have to go through this, as well as just, I'm sure I'm not the only one, but I've made a lot of mistakes along my life and made the wrong decisions. And unlike that character in the film, I've had people be there for me and show me the right path. In this scenario, it's what would it be like to go in a different route if you don't have any help? You feel like you're alone. And, you know, New York City is a huge city, but it can also feel the loneliest at times. So I try to hammer that down of how he has to go through this journey and he has nobody alongside him. And I felt like that at times, but, you know, again, I've had people who ended up being there for me. And so, yeah, when I wrote the script, I put all my heart and effort into it to make sure that it's something that I want to show people, and something that I want to express and be a part of me and part of my conversation. So I think, I'm so happy with how this came out, and the editing is going great. I'm finally seeing how it's all looking and put all together. These guys played along off each other. There's a scene in specific of Diletta and Andreas just going back and forth with each other, and I think it's so natural and real, as well as heartfelt. It's very heartfelt because you can see both of their characters' ideals and their mind space, but at the same time you understand as the audience they're not in the wrong, but you understand why they're in conflict with each other, which is what real life is like. Like, there's not always a bad guy and a good guy.
Yeah.
There's always an in between, and how that just makes us all human. So
Do you ever feel like maybe a lot of those things are circumstantial or situational on why we even have things like that, drama, or just like maybe a clash in perspective? And these are the things,
yeah, for sure, that's the whole point. I mean, nobody ever wants to be, I don't think nobody ever goes out of their way to just hurt someone and hurt their feelings. I think it's all coming from a place of ideals and how they don't realize until it's maybe too late that they've hurt someone else. So
yeah, no, I get it. Have you guys ever heard of he is a psychologist, but like I'm not 100% sure. I've seen him on YouTube many times. His name is Garbo Mate. I think he's I think he's like a Yugoslavian Jew, but he talks a lot about like childhood trauma and where addiction comes from, and all of that, like pretty much where we are coming into adults. There are so many things that go way the hell back that we don't even remember. Like, I don't know if you guys can remember the first 2 to 3 years of your life, but I certainly do not. I think I must have gone through some trauma that, my brain is like, I can't remember any of it. But he really talks a lot about, and I got his book now, In the Realm of Hungry Ghosts. In the AFC, we're working on now creating originals on how to work together as a group. One of them is called Gabby. And this is a girl who's very neurotic, who just can't seem to like get her emotions under control. And as a creator, I wanted to play with sort of like the definitions of words and where words come from, and have the actors behave with the common denominator or the root of all words in a neurotic way. And no spoilers, but that's what I'm kind of going for. And it doesn't exist yet, but we might film at least the first scene this summer. Neither here nor there.
Too interesting.
But yeah, but oh damn, I totally lost my train of thought. I wanted to ask. I did want to ask, and then it'll probably come right back to me. But I guess Sebastian, how many films do you think you've? How many did you make up until now?
Up until now, I'd say professionally, with like the right kind of crew and like more organized, I'd say I've done roughly, counting this one, 3 and 1 music video. So I've had somewhat experience, but I'm still learning from every experience. It's something completely different from one another. But they've all been great, and I've been lucky enough to just be surrounded by the right film community in New York City, because they're all very professional. They all want to make something bigger than themselves, and it's great.
Awesome. And I guess for the majority, like Alessandro, you said you have more of a theater background, so you were actually able to bring a lot of like intimacy from the stage onto the screen now.
Yeah, I've been acting in regional theater productions since I graduated in 2018. Well, when the pandemic didn't take them away, but I've since transitioned to film and television, and that's truly where my heart lies. The first time I filmed a short film up in Rhode Island in 2019 that kind of changed my whole perspective of storytelling, because you can reach just different emotional depths. Obviously, the closer your camera is and the closer your audience is to you, and a television production can reach millions and millions of people. So I think, especially when telling those very important stories, that is the medium to go after. So I have since tried to amend my life's, amend my life's work with, as well as theater, some TV and film as well, working on writing things as well. As you know, production side is a whole different battle, but it was really eye-opening for me, the ability to curate a story and help people very specifically. The short film I had the pleasure of working on before, it's titled Junkie, and I played a young adult on his way down the wrong path, and it was seen by a bunch of it was actually distributed to a bunch of different care centers as a short film that had something to say, and it was very touching. I've gotten messages from it. The filmmaker Alyssa Metello is doing wonderful work, and she's still in that same realm, and it's just very moving to be able to hear a personal account of someone who contacted you and you never met them before, but that story resonated with them so much that they had to reach out and say something. It's
Oh wow.
a whole different level of pride. So it's wonderful that I got to be able to help Sebastian realize his vision as well.
So you felt some form of validation where it's like you did a good job and it actually left the right impression on a person to, just help them cope, or just like it left that impression positively on them?
Absolutely. And I think as artists, our job is to help those who can't express themselves or can't.
I can't agree to that. I do. I never once considered myself an artist, ever. Artistic.
Sure.
And somebody actually on this podcast not too long ago, we were talking about art and, what is it? And it's like, he asked me this question, and it really, I can't I couldn't answer it because there's, maybe you guys could help me out. At what point a work of art, do you think the art is complete? Exactly. Yeah. It's like, whoops.
I mean, that's like,
how do you know if it's actually finished or if it's done, or does that even is it art when you know that it's can't change it, done?
Well, art imitates life, and life is never ending and never undeveloped. It keeps developing. The same artistic piece that you put out today could mean something completely different in 15, 20 years. And I guess I go back to beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and whatever art means to that person is how you define it as finished, or I don't know if you can ever say it's finished. It's a tough premise.
It is. And that's why I call myself artistic, not an artist.
I don't know.
I'm not going to go about it, but it's like, I've accomplished nothing to really take yeah, I did it. No, I'm not there yet. So therefore I'm not an artiste.
I feel like whenever you work, sorry, who was talking? No. Okay.
Everybody's talking.
I think that when do you know? I have no idea, but I also think that because right now I'm just focusing on acting. I know when my job ends, because it's I think it's easier. It's different. It's just different for me. For me, it's like how well prepared I come to rehearsals and how much analysis. I know what's my job, and I'm trying to do the best I can with the time I have to really come prepared, know my lines, analyzing the story and my character, really try things and be willing to play and really take direction. I know what's my job, but after that, after being on set, after a shooting day, my job ends there. So I think that for an actor is different, rather than the director or the editor, and they are the ones that have to really do the work, the post-production, and they are the one that are going to decide, okay, this is it. This is my vision has come, this is what I pictured and this is done. Like, so I think it's a very particular question, at least like for me or for, because I know where my job.
That's really interesting. Oh, sorry.
No, if
yeah.
you want, I'll write down my question, but if it's in, please piggyback off that.
Yeah, of course. That's really interesting because I think I have the opposite experience. I think when it comes to, I know when my job is done, I think for me, also with the filming of Monster, like, I come prepared. I know my craft, I know my process, I have confidence in it, but it's always, I think when it comes to actors or even like artists in general, whether you paint, you write, you're an architect, you always feel like you can do more. I don't know if like, I feel like that's a universal feeling amongst artists or people who work in any artistic field. You always feel like you can do more. And for me, like during Monster, like I had to show up for every day of filming. And then there was a point where I was like, I could do this forever. I could, like, I don't need to go back to my day job. I can do this forever. And I can like last because I just want to do more and more and more. And I think for me, when I know, like when I've created something or I'm a part of the creative process and I know it's finished is when I can accept all of its pros, all of its like good and the flaws. And when I can accept that it's over and it's there and you just leave it in someone else's hands, like, here's my performance. It's over. Now it's in Sebastian's hands. It's in the editor's hands. And then it moves on to the hands of the audience. And they get to make of that what they will. And for me, I'd let it go a long time ago, I guess.
At that point, I understand what you're saying. Like, I could do more, but like, is it like the feeling like after a project is wrapped of like, I could have done more or that you could do it again? Because like at that point, you don't have a choice, even if like you're still thinking about it and you can't let go of that. Like the shooting is over and you can't do like, so what do you mean? Do you know what my question?
Yeah, no, like I get it. I think also it comes down to, I guess, like my experiences in theater when you have like a bunch of shows and like every show is different or like every day of filming is different. Every take is different. Right. And it's just like, you keep on doing it. And like, and then you kind of realize like, hey, I want to do another show. I want another day of filming. I want another, like, I want to keep doing it. Mm-hmm. That like, I think when you know it's complete is when you can accept it's over. Like, I think like there are still scripts that I read from old theater productions or old like thing, like, and I go back on my notes because I like to write a lot, and like I still go back to it, and like in my mind I feel like, I could, maybe it's not over, maybe like it's a little bit delusional, but like I could go back to it, I could like learn from it, I want to go back to this character, I want to.
I understand that, like, and I think like I do relate to that, but I understand your point, but then I think that also is different whenever you have like an actual project where people are working on post-production like that. Even if we want to, we're not really part of it. Like we are because of what we did, but at that point, it's out of our hands.
Yeah, at that point, it's over.
Yeah,
actors are instrumental. Is what they really are. You guys could be prepared, you could be tuned up, and the part could be played as an instrument. And then you got the orchestrator, your conductor, Sebastian, over here, working his magic. And I understand both perspectives, but it was a curious thing on, it seems, my question would be, I guess, to the actors, based on, how you approach it being an actor, was there any dynamics or similarities to your character that you were able to just fit right in, like as if it were a shoe or a glove, where your own personal perspective contributed to the performance? No. Okay.
Definitely. No, definitely.
I was going to wait for
It's
someone else.
it's an absolutely yes from all of us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Dilly and I both got the pleasure of playing actors who have, we got to play versions of ourselves, more successful version of myself, but
So modest.
well, no, I'm saying the actor in the thing is more successful than I am currently.
So your character has more awards than you do.
Yeah, for
Gotcha.
sure.
All right.
Yeah. No,
it.
I'm low on the totem pole.
Gotcha.
My character definitely has more accolades. So it was a nice idealized version of, and as I mentioned, he is kind of the antagonist. So I get to draw on a bunch of different acting inspirations while also bringing myself to the part. And I'm sure Dilly would say the same.
Yeah, I agree. I for sure, like I'm an actress and I had to portray an actress doing a sex scene, and we actually had to do like an intimate scene. So it was like very relatable. And also the fact, as I said before, like the fact that Ava is very caring and mature in a relationship. I think it's, I took that dynamic and really put myself into it and try to bring out the more mature, like, part of myself. Because, like, I feel like the fact that she was like I think she was a really strong woman that knew what she wants, and also, cared a lot about a relationship and just trying to do the best thing for both her career and a relationship. Like, that's something that is very relatable. So I just try to, give life, like bring this character to life, and really show the maturity and strong woman that Eva is. And so I think that that's like the part of me that I know it's in me, that in my real life is not always there, but I really try to put more of that into my character.
Good.
So
Yeah, stick with what you know, exercise and execute on what it is you do know, make the discoveries later and just get the experience.
yeah, and then like at the end of the day, like once you really have clear your characters and like how similar it's from, like the character is from you, and you've done your job as like analyzing the story, know exactly what's going on, then it's just about just connecting in the moment with the other actors, and the magic just happens. I don't know, sometimes it's that simple. When you do the job before, then it just makes sense while you're there, if you're really listening. And yeah, I agree. Like, one of my favorite scenes is definitely like between me and Joel, like in like our argument scene. And I think that from the first moment that we did that, like already, like I didn't even got the role yet. It was like the callbacks, and I met Andreas in that scenario, and it was amazing. I don't know, it clicked for me like right from the callback. It was just so fun to just be there, and I think like those characters just came out by being focused in the moment and just play off each other.
Did you want to piggyback on that?
Sure. I think, that argument scene is like, I think in any other, I think I think it just clicked, and I definitely agree. It clicked to the point where it's like, we're having this really emotionally charged conversation, this really uncomfortable conversation, a conversation that I think not a lot of people want to have with their significant other, but it became just like fun. And I think going back to like relatability and what, like, it was really interesting to be a filmmaker or like someone behind the camera instead of just being an actor. I'm used to being in front and being on stage and having that kind of life as someone who worked as like a PA or like a director, just around cameras, or like even in the scene, he's working as the sound guy, so he can hear everything perfectly. He's working as a sound guy on this film. and that was a very like interesting.
Oh. So that's the relationship. So your character
Yeah.
is did I hear that right? Your character, go ahead.
So his character is a sound mixer, and he has,
On his girlfriend's film set.
exactly. So he has to hear.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, you did not say that earlier, did you? Because if you did,
we didn't. No,
I
we
think you
didn't.
buried the lead a little bit.
All right, so it's
Yeah, well, we wanted to like surprise.
oh my god, this poor guy.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's the whole drama. The fact that he's there and he's like listening and watching the scene.
I thought he worked
Yeah.
on Wall Street and his girlfine was an actress.
No.
No.
Much worse. It's
A little
it's
more close
much
to home.
worse than that.
Yeah. I think I said he's there on set before, but I just didn't specify.
It's just like, hey, you want to come to? It's bring your boyfriend to work day. No. Oh, this poor guy. And wait, so Sebastian, did you kind of do a Hitchcock where you put yourself as a character in the film, like as the director directing the film?
Actually, yes, I did.
Oh, yeah, let's go.
I put myself as a director and my Ginevra as the AD. And my DP also shows up, Jishnu. He shows up as a DP. So it's a little fun cameos. So we had a lot of fun shooting it.
Oh, so what was? Can I ask? Alessandro. No, not Alessandro. Andrea. Whatever. Andy, bro, did you do any prep work as a technician on how to like really embody and get into character, operating the boom or anything?
I was kind of pestering Asem, the sound guy, the sound mixer. I was like just looking and observing and just from being on sets. I always try to be like friendly to everyone on set, like show everyone like respect, and we're all in there to have a good time. And I'm very observant as a person, so I'm observant of like the sound guy, the sound mixer, how to hold the mic. I've done a little bit of work like back at school at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. We had a camera technique class where we would film everyone's scenes, and everyone had a different job on set. Like, so someone would work the lights, someone was a gaffer, someone was a PA, and so it was interesting to kind of look back to all my memories of, and just, okay, here's how you hold it. Okay, am I holding it right? All right, like just show me like what the buttons are so I actually know what I'm doing.
Didn't you messed up something on set one day that you like?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking
I remember this.
Wait, what did I mess up?
Yeah. So for the first scene, it was a shot of him, like medium close up, and we only have one audio mix. So he actually had to wear it and press start the audio, but he pressed the wrong button. So we had no audio for that one. And then the sound guy was like, dude, like I told you how to do it. No.
I remember, yeah.
That's
So
the magic.
where was the
Pretty
real?
upset.
Where was the real sound guy for that? I mean, like, at that point now, is it a prop master type of thing, or like the wardrobe department's got to get involved?
No. We had a sound guy. Sorry, go on.
But he was just standing behind the camera guy.
Yeah, he was pretty much teaching him how to do the sound and start, because we only have like one boom, one audio mix for that take. So
It wasn't Bobby, was it? Was your sound guy Bobby?
No.
Oh, he's got a nickname, Bobby Backstage. He is the sound guy of Backstage, Bobby Backstage.
Oh,
No.
You haven't met him yet? You will. All right. He's out there. Shout out to Bobby Backstage. So you had one job.
And I messed up. Well, now I know I will never have like a career as like a sound mixer. There's like the differences. Like there are a lot of similarities between
traumas now. Like you won't do it ever because you have traumas like out of
that's true. Now every time I would like, if I ever want to work at a sound mixer, I'll just like imagine myself on the set of Monster and just
crying.
I know there was one movie actually called Monster, I think, with
Charlize Theron.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was thinking of. What a piece of work that was, huh? But why did you call it Monster?
I believe we already spoke about this, but it was we see the transition of the main character go through this very fragile state of mind to his bad decisions that he takes throughout the film, which leads him to be in a very different mental state and physical state towards the end of the film. It's since it's a character piece, we see him transition into this very different person based on his actions.
Did you want to use this as a stepping stone to expand into other like a continuance of this story structure, like an anthology, or is this it? Short, sweet, done?
As of right now, it's a short film, and we're trying to just really focus on this one piece in specific. But I can't see it going, if it gets picked up to be something bigger. There's definitely more story to tell. There's definitely more to get into the characters, more into their mental psyche, more into Diletta's character, to Alessandro's character, because they all have, it's kind of like a two-sided version of each other, and they all show different sides to whoever. For example, Alessandro's character, he's a very sweet person to Diletta. He tries to be a very helpful, co-star, but then he, towards the crew members, he tends to be more like a cocky self because he knows he's maybe better than them. He has more presence on them. So it's definitely two sides of each character. So definitely, if we decide to go for a bigger story, there's definitely more to tell. There's definitely more that I would definitely bring you guys back for it.
Yes, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah, it'd be great. So yeah.
Welcome to Happy Corner. This project strives to make safe housing areas for stray cats at an affordable price. It's so easy to put together that even your children could have fun making one. Help keep cats and other animals safe with their own little Happy Corner homes. You can help this project become a reality by donating to the GoFundMe page. Happy Corner homes are a great way to show those animals in need it's okay to be happy.
You think Joel, did he go to school for he wanted to be the best sound engineer on the face of the earth, or was it sort of like the one job he could get as a survival job because he wasn't actually filmmaking?
Yeah, that's part of the story that we do kind of go into. It's they both started kind of in the same film school, and that's how they met.
Okay.
But he has to see her go from just a school actress to like a up and coming really famous actress, whereas he's still struggling to find work in the film industry as a crew member, where he maybe wants to direct or produce or become someone bigger in the industry. So yeah.
You should have just called him Bobby Backstage. That guy works all the time.
There you go. Shout out Bobby Backstage.
Yo, you guys are going to meet this guy. I know it. It's only a matter of time. The AFC is going to be doing networking mixers where all the filmmakers, especially now that it's summertime, on Fridays, especially Fridays, we're trying to move away from Wednesdays. More people are available. We're going to start shaking hands, and there's we only had like a couple hundred people and change during the pandemic, and now on Facebook there's over 900.
That's great.
Incredible.
Like, it's stupid big. Bro, all right. And okay, fine. I'm going to stay in my lane. We'll see you guys Fridays. You're there. You're not next month. We'll see you then. But holy cow. Now I want to watch the movie. So what's the release date? Like, do you have an idea, perspective? What's the plan? Festival.
So right now we're scheduled to finish post-production by August. And after that, it's going to go into festivals. We're going to submit it. So we have to see how long the festival run is going to be. And after that, we're most likely going to release it somewhere. I'll keep you guys posted for everything. So, but I'm very excited.
Did you have anything get into distribution before?
I've never been into the distribution part of a film yet. So I'm still I still keep in contact with some of my teachers from school. So they're helping me out, just helping me navigate through this whole distribution part that I'm not really well aware of. But yeah, I'm excited.
I think Alessandro mentioned earlier, this was kind of personal in a sense where it's like Like that glove thing I was talking about before, because you mentioned your parents are performers, and somehow after all this time they were actually really, as a married couple, as we're people, right? We got our jobs, we got our careers. Did you mention your dad was a musician?
He's an actor, singer as well. Both of them actors. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And your mother was more of a dancer?
Actress as well. Both of them started on Broadway theater. And my dad has since kind of transitioned to big band concerts, Frank Sinatra concerts around the country with many symphonies, world as well, orchestras. My mom's still doing the 8-show-a-week schedule when they let her, and some TV and film on the side as well.
What's she working on
right now? Actually doing a new production of Transparent, the musical, at the Mark Taper.
Oh my God. I had no idea that became a musical now. Everything is becoming a musical.
Brand new. Yeah. It's the writers have decided to because the finale episode was a musical, but they actually decided to create a standalone piece as well, more focused on the daughter's existence more than the Jeffrey Tambor father's mother.
Did you guys ever read a play called Crimes of the Heart?
I think I heard of it. No, I don't think I read it.
It's a beautiful story about three sisters and like everything happening in their living room, and all of them coming back to home because somebody got shot. No spoilers, but I highly recommend, if you get to the drama bookstore, that is a beautiful little story that I got to pick up in college, and that was so much fun.
Crimes of the Heart, correct?
Crimes of the Heart. I can't forget it. It was such like I used to have
on the list right now.
There we go.
Crimes of the Heart. I don't think it was a Eugene O'Neill play. I don't remember the author, but it was it wasn't Found a Peanut. It was Crimes of the Heart. Shout out to Found a Peanut. If you guys ever want to play kids again, that's a play about adults as their kids. Where literally, I don't know why they didn't just pick kids, but it's just that's a great play too. If you want to read that too, that's a fun one that would actually make a very good like little movie. But I don't know.
Sounds like you got it in pre-production already up there.
Yeah. Well, bro, we're headquartered in Astoria, Queens, and I'm filming this podcast up in the Catskills right now. I'm taking a break. I'm still like tired from yesterday. I can't believe it, but I feel accomplished. You know, we did a lot promoting AFC. We had people just randomly come. There was this one guy that showed up yesterday. His name is Barry, and he's talking to me about he's got the Bible ready to go. He's got a $30 million budget. Like this is a real legitimate story. And I'm like, I bet it is. All right. So next step. Sunday, writer's room, actors, read, listen. What could we do? And that's it. Starting working on
kick it off sometime.
Well, I didn't even get to like finish my question to you before, Alessandro. So like, as far as like, having gone from your character, were you able to actually like talk to your parents about the process of being the actor? And did you share like the real role, the character, and how like maybe your parents could relate to a guy like that?
For sure. A lot of that was just when I was growing up, going to see my parents in different productions and watching my mom, on stage, mainly making out with a guy, or my dad making out with a girl. And then having those conversations as a child being like, hey, this is a little odd to see my parents do this. And every time they sit down, they would sit me down. They say, well, this is what we do for a living. We tell stories for a living. Sometimes we are not who we are when we're on stage. And obviously, as I matured, it becomes a lot more apparent that this is their job. In fact, I think the last big intimacy thing my mom had to do was with Richard Dreyfuss. So that was like a very on Madoff. She played opposite. He did Burning.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And she
really?
She had to sign a NDA at the age of in her 50s. And she was like, I never thought anyone would ask to see this. So we'll see. But it really is a testament to you. It's separate, your job is your job and your life is your life. They went about their careers and are still very much in love and together. And to this day, talk very highly about their many opportunities, not only as actors, but as parents as well. And it never was an issue. Just it was generally accepted as part of the job and their storytelling lives.
So I guess an overall question, is there maybe a stigma? Because this is a very serious topic, especially now after the Me Too movement. All like everything that's been going on for generations of maturity, responsibility, and actually making the art, or actually, exploiting an actor or actress in this space. This is a very complicated subject, and I applaud you for actually bringing it to the table. And I can't wait to see the movie to see how well you actually did it justice. I will give my opinion when I watch it. But anyway, my curiosity, but no, in all seriousness, as an overall, I guess, goal, is it, or is there a stigma on just like the topic of a sex scene in the arts that just nobody could really relate to or understand? Diletta, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, like more than a stigma, like my main point that I've been offered. So even if I'm pretty fresh and I've just started working, and I've been offered lots of roles that asked for nudity, like a lot. And some of them were like more low budget, some of them were more high budget. At the end of the day, for me, it's like when it's really necessary to the story. Because like sometimes people just want to put nudity or like a sexual scene when it's really not needed and it adds nothing to the story. So like I'm somebody that is like willing to do it, like if it's important to tell the story, if it's important for that character in that moment to, bring something to the whole project, to the, like if it's just for the sake of like having, a beautiful woman just half naked just for having it because it's fun to have a movie like that. No, that's for me, it's really stupid. I don't know. I think it's really important when it's relevant for the story that you're telling, and when you do it safely, like with somebody on set that is like specifically there to make everybody feel comfortable. And I remember on set, I was supposed, like, that's very detailed and intimate, but I'm gonna share it. So there was a moment in which I had to show the back, like my whole back naked. But then, like, I remember Seb and Willow is again the intimacy coordinator. They had like a talk and they were looking like how a shot looked better. And then there was no need for me to show like from the hips down. So like it looks so good on camera, a certain shot, and it gave you perfectly the image and sense of it, so that there was no need for the other thing. And I would have done it because like I think that it's really relevant and important to have like this sex scene for the film, because it's like it's a main event, and to really give the sense of it, it's important. But then, it's whatever looks good and really gives you like the sense of it. I keep repeating myself, but like whenever like you have a good shot and you're already giving the idea and a good description of like what's happening, that's enough. And so like I remember Willow and Seb having this conversation about like cutting a scene because it wasn't necessary anymore. So for me,
did that actually contribute, I guess, to sort of like the cinematographer, or just sort of like the layout of how to actually, display it appropriately, where it's more of an artistic display and not just like words on a paper, she's over there, capture the whole shot and we'll do the whole thing. So yeah. Was there like a growing opportunity with that?
But do you want to take this?
Yeah, I would say, for me, it's always if it's only necessary. Again, like my girlfriend's an actress, I would not want, people to just want to have her nude in a scene if it's not necessary. I think that just makes things more complicated and it's not ideal. So, we wanted to make sure Diletta and Alessandro felt comfortable, as well as making the story make sense and showing just what is important. So we had a conversation, me, Willow, and the cinematographer Jishnu, and we actually found a better way of making it still look like cinematically and like in a way sensual, as well as, we don't have to show things just for the sake of showing things. So, you know,
Well, you had a story to tell. There was a point to prove and how to do it.
exactly. Like, we don't, in my mind, if I don't need to show things, like it's not necessary. Okay. Like I'm okay with it. I don't need to, this is not Euphoria or something like that. That I just want to show.
You brought that up a couple times. Like I did, because when I watched it, it kind of hit me in the face a little bit. You know, it was a lot of it was unexpected, and I don't know the status of the show right now. I haven't watched anything on HBO in a while, especially since Game of Thrones stopped. But anyway, I'm not. We don't have to talk about that. Especially like I got a therapist for talking about Game of Thrones. But I'm curious. What is it about Euphoria? Was there something that you just that you learned from that works or doesn't work that you wanted to kind of just like you use other people's mistakes to sort of like execute storytelling in the right way?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, the way Euphoria is shot, it's very aesthetically pleasing. It's very nice shots. But it does not take away from the fact that maybe sometimes there's stuff that they go a little too far. They shouldn't be there. They're just there for the sake of being provocative. And that's something that me and I know a lot of people are not there to watch for. Like, for example, Game of Thrones, they do have a lot of, especially in the beginning and the first couple of seasons, they have a lot of provocative scenes, but towards where the story became more important than just catching people's eyes, they stopped doing scenes like that. So it just kind of comes to show that if a story is good and it's well executed, you don't really need to like shock people with like images and stuff that doesn't need to be there. And I think that says a lot about like a filmmaker and its crew and how they go about things.
Character driven, story driven. You think maybe some because I'm sure this movie, I didn't get to see it yet, and I don't want to like put you in a position where you have to give the story away, but I feel like even though it's a serious topic, whether there's nudity scenes involved, because it seems like that's an inciting incident that actually triggers the protagonist throughout the whole story. But that's not what the story is really about, is it?
Yeah, no, it's just the inciting incident, and then because of that, it makes our main character do bad decisions. That's priority. That's a priority of the film and what the story is about, and we follow him through his journey on this, this hard time. But it's not like it's about the sex scene and only, like it's a way bigger issue. Like,
but it is like the scene that provokes everything else. So I think that's the importance of that scene. Of course, like it's not the main, it's everything that happens after and the journey about the character, what the characters go through. But it is a turning point. It is a point in which like that's why I think it was necessary to the movie. Mm-hmm. Even if it's not the main focus, it's still like a scene that has to be there because it's from there that all the drama starts.
Well, could you describe the story as a love story then? Well, can I ask an honest question? Would Joel, the character, right? If he didn't actually love Ava, would he have had feelings of rage at all?
No, he wouldn't. I think it's like very complex, at least from my prep. I think it was not just like that he felt betrayed by watching that. It was all of these emotions that he sort of experienced throughout. Just like, there's also the shame of having watched it, even though he knows it's like fake. It's the shame, the fact that like he feels overlooked in the film community, in the industry, right? Because he doesn't really want to be a sound mixer. He like, there's like moments where he talks about how he wants to write scripts and he wants to do more and he wants to like be more. And it's a culmination of all these emotions, I think, but it's also the love. And there's like a very like thin line between like acting out of love and acting out of just like hate, and what happens when you're consumed by those emotions.
Sure. It's starting to sound like a tragedy.
I would more describe it as a tragedy than just like a romance story or a romantic story, because there is love there. Like, I think Joel has all the love in the world for Ava, but it's like,
it's so much more than that. And it doesn't focus on the romantic aspect of it.
And Andres is Greek, so fits.
Greek tragedy.
On theme. It's on theme.
There we go.
We romance to the Italians, okay? Like, we have tragedy.
Some people say that the Italians got everything from Greek.
It's
just saying, like,
I'm inclined to believe that's true because of like pride in my culture, but
hey, it's either like the Greeks and the Gentiles. It's a biblical thing where you guys kind of pick everybody, and everybody else just kind of like Rome pushed everybody around, and now we have different languages. But hey, it's all right.
And the Romans did it better. There's still some like Roman stuff that are just. I'm a huge history nerd, so I digress. I can go on a whole tangent.
I really wish I saw the movie and where we could kind of like, because I do not want to ask questions to the point where it's like I gotta like pull it out of you, where I'm just trying to be like a responsible host and just ask the right little questions without giving the story away. But I just do. I guess gotta wait until you guys put it out into the festival circuit, or if you guys bring it to the Triborough Film Festival, and then it will be screened there. I don't know.
No, that would be a great thing to do. Yeah.
It's a battle of the boroughs, so just so you know, the Bronx is dead. Shout out to the Bronx.
Shout out the Bronx.
Yeah. No, they're winning. They crushed it this year. We had over 50 submissions, I think, in 2023. 47 got shown. It was a 2-day festival, and it was draining, but oh my God, bro. Like some of the, like you might see a lot of it on AFC Plus eventually. We just put all the trailers, at least the award show. But that was the biggest takeaway from doing a festival, is all, like the audience coming to me and saying, how do we get to watch that movie? I don't know until now, but I guess it's just a matter of time if anybody wants to like jump in on it. But I do. I'm looking forward to seeing the movie. Yeah. I want to know what happens to Joel. I do want to know Ava's background. I want to know whether or not I should, be envious of Alessandro's character, because I don't know the character's name. What's your character's name?
Cole.
Yeah.
Oh, fun fact. Oh no, it doesn't matter. There's an actor named Cole from The Degenerates where you guys actually look alike. So
okay, I'll take it. There we go.
Yeah. Shout out to Cole, especially everybody in the Monkey Bars cast and crew, and The Degenerates from how we all met. Shout out to Cole wherever you are. And yes, you look a lot like Alessandro. Yes, you do. You can't.
Cole, let's link up. We'll play brothers.
You would no, you guys actually would. And there's it's so, man, it's so exciting. And I wish we could talk all day. But I do want to be respectful of everybody's time. But I was curious, I think we covered so much. Are you guys how do you what's when you guys network and meet other filmmakers, or what's the best, if there's anybody listening right now and maybe they want to work with you down the road, what's the best way for anybody to, as of right now, just get in touch with you directly?
I'd say for me, just social media. I think, it's a great way of networking with people you've never met, and you kind of get a sense of themselves. And then just, New York City is a great place to just connect in person. It's very easy to people to connect. Just go parks, restaurants, whatever. It's been the way I've done it in the past couple of years. That's how I've met people, and most of them tend to be great. And that's how I met Andreas, actually, at a party. My girlfriend actually acted with him, and then I met him, and then I thought he was great. And
we just became good friends, beyond just being creative collaborators. We like to hang out.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. It's good to get out of the house once in a while. Yeah. Sure. So social media is the best way to get in touch with you guys, mostly for everybody?
For me, it's like either social media. I agree that I'm not a huge social media fan, but the truth is that right now networking works a lot with that, especially like the good thing is that even people that you wouldn't meet in like other circumstances, like in real life, through social media, everything is so accessible. So that's really easy. So I would say that. And also like I had some people just like, I have a website. I just recently made like a website like with my actress page. And through that one, I received lots of emails of people that wants to collaborate either with me or like ask me to go to events. And that's like something that is nice. I think that's a way to reach out to me, I guess. Yeah.
I'll make sure I get all your information, your tags and everything, especially when we start.
Sure.
Hopefully this episode will actually come out maybe just a little bit before your movie gets released. It's going to be a long summer. But what about Cole's actor?
Yeah. Alessandro. Yeah, social media is the way to go about it. Email, a lot of in-person events, or I agree with Sebastian and Andreas and Dilly. When you make a personal connection at one of these events, whether that be a film festival or even just a party, it's a little more meaningful, because in a day of immediate contact for everyone almost anywhere, it's nice to put a face to the name as well as the conversation. So a lot of my connections that I've made have been through my school or through these incredible little projects that I get to work on in passing. I was lucky enough to be cast off of backstage and meet a whole brand new team, which you just got to put yourself out there and kind of try to meet the good people. Obviously, you can't delineate who's good and bad, but you just got to put yourself out there and smile, shake some hands, and you usually end up making pretty good connections that way.
Yeah,
I agree.
that's right. And I agree a lot. Like how many projects that I've been in, like from those, like new ones were born. Like just the fact that I met Seb on the set of a short film that I did right before Monster, like that was already like a nice little, contact.
So it was able to actually, like you guys have experience working together, or just like these little comfort zones where you're able to actually really like expand yourself as a creator and just take that next step and progress in your craft. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
I got to say, guys, this was definitely like the biggest podcast as far as a group setting I've done, where we actually got to do a little bit more of a deep dive about the creators coming on the show and talking about their movie. We haven't really had a group session yet. Still waiting on my damn studio so I could do Inside the AFC and actually have a table, like a real table talk.
Yeah,
part two. We'll do a part two.
We'll definitely do a part two. I know like the club is going to grow, and we've had these discussions. It's like, what do we want to do? Do we want to spend $30,000 at best case scenario for just a shack of a studio somewhere in New York City, or do we want to have a budget of $30,000 a year for multiple projects? What do we want to do? So here we are. Like, what are we supposed, like, if we get to the point where we got it, great. All right. I'll do it in the basement of a church if that's what it takes to make it work. But I did actually.
I just did a short film in the basement of a church, but it was an insane basement. I swear.
Were there any ghosts?
What are you saying?
Were there any ghosts in like a basement?
No, thank God. Probably yes, but like thank God I didn't see any. I would freak out.
Yeah. You get the cold jitters right away. And I'm not a horror guy. I can't watch horror anything. I guess I'm a sensitive mush. I don't look like it, but I truly am. I don't know. It could be the impartial Italian in me, where it's like that 1% terrified.
You're artistic. You have to be a little sensitive.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Did you just call me autistic? Is that what I heard?
No, artistic, not autistic.
Are you? Where did you go to school, dude? Like, did you take a speech in
artistic?
See, you just said it again.
Artistic, not autism.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. It's cool. I've been called worse. Everybody's on the spectrum, you know. I'm not gonna get upset. I'm just pulling your
Yeah,
leg.
I know.
I'm just pulling your leg, man. And
No, he's the one who's making me feel embarrassed because he's laughing.
no, you didn't. You did nothing wrong. And I guess everybody here, for the most part, English is your second language. I assume.
First.
Yeah, it's my second. I'm originally from Colombia, so.
So wait, you're from Colombia originally.
Mhm.
Oh, did we not? I thought we all agreed that we would actually cover this in the beginning.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's not a big deal. So you speak Spanish, everybody speaks Italian, not a big deal. I'm sure we're going to actually shake hands in person. There's a lot of people listening to the podcast, ideally, who are going to like get to know you better when they actually do meet you. And on behalf of the Astoria Filmmakers Club, I got to just say thank you all for coming on this tiny little podcast for what it is. Who knows what's going to come of it one day, where, you know, we could always look back on these episodes and say, I knew them when, you know. That I think we could all, like, you know, have aspirations of the journey, you know, and just like not take like days like today for granted, you know, where they do contribute to the whole story of you, you know.
Sure.
For sure.
No,
Absolutely.
thank you so much. This is a great platform, and I really like what you're doing, just showcasing more of New York City's filmmaking aspects. Thank you for what you're doing.
No, you're welcome. I guess my work of art is the club as of right now.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you guys came. And before we wrap up, we always have a segment called The Right Words at the Right Time. It's how we end every show. So it all started pretty much, I could say 15 years ago, when I first became an actor by accident. You'll find out my journey by all the podcasts. I think we covered everything. But I used to read this book called The Right Words at the Right Time, which was an entire collection of interviews by Marcy Hopkins. And she interviewed guys like Mel Brooks, Shaquille O'Neal, the Clintons, politicians, athletes, actors, very household names that are still household names today. But once upon a time, in their younger days, before they were who they became, as we know them, they were all, for the most part, given the right words at the right time that just stuck with them throughout their entire life, that helped them just stay strong and keep motivated. And they just never could give up because they were just given the right words at the right time. So that was my final question for each one of you, if you wanted to go. If you did have the right words at the right time. My question is, and take your time, we'll go around the horn. Has anybody ever given you the right words at the right time that have stuck with you personally, that helped you persevere and overcome all the obstacles? Or if not, are there any words of your own that you would like to share to somebody listening?
I could start. One of my favorite things that I've ever heard, and I can't attribute, my dad got it from his dad, his father. So it's my grandfather. I didn't have the pleasure of meeting him, but he would always say that if I'm done learning in this life, it's time to put the other foot in the box and move on. So basically, it's all about staying curious, staying open, and always trying to learn more about what the human existence is and why we're here. So I think I've always taken that with me and continue to try to learn something every day.
No, you can go. I'm still thinking.
I would say just never settle. I think, like Alessandro said, just keep looking for new things. Just always keep exploring. For me, I used to tend to be more shy of talking to new people. And now that I've been in the city, even though I'm terrified of talking to new people, I just start and just introduce myself, even though I'm terrified. And it's gone a long ways. I've made great friends, great connections. I think that goes a long way. And yeah, another one would be just in the industry, just make friends, just be yourself, and you know, people will like you for who you are and work with you more than just pretending to be someone you're not. just that goes a long way too.
Okay, I guess I'm next. All right. I guess this isn't like an exact quote, but I think the gist of it has like really stuck with me. If it's not bursting out of you by the seams, don't do it. That's why I always try to do everything, but do with everything. If you're going to do something, do it with love, passion, curiosity, and consideration.
Nice.
Good one.
I guess mine, I'm not sure if I ever got something like at the right moment, but like there are two quotes that like I feel like are important and that I feel like they speak to me. One is very basic and simple, which is like trust the process, but it's so true. Like how many times in my life I'm like, I don't make sense of like, I think I'm frozen.
No, I can hear you. No, you're fine. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, like how many times I'm like in a moment and I don't understand it. Like I don't understand why I feel a certain thing or why something is happening to me. And like I can't like even like either is something bad or good, like, and you can't make sense of it, but then it makes sense after. Like everything happens for a reason. And like, and before, you know, achieving a certain goal or, you know, getting to a certain point in your life, there's so much, there's a whole journey. And so like trusting the process and try to enjoy every single part of it. It's really important. And the other one is don't lose yourself. Just so like just the fact that everything we do is just really try to stick with yourself and your values and try not to lose yourself. I don't know. That's something that my grandmother told me. And I loved it. That's it.
I really do hope that, you know, everybody who ever listens to any of the podcasts that we've done so far, they listen to the right words at the right time. And like maybe they're having a bad day and they do hear something that somebody on the show contributes to help like just keep their hope alive. And that's exactly why I want to end the show with that segment, because like we're all moving towards our destiny, like our destination, whatever it is that might be our purpose and our purpose-driven life. What were we actually put on the earth to do? Sometimes you could find it in the art form. Sometimes you could find it, I guess, as an educator. There's so many different avenues and people and characters ever. Like billions upon billions of people have been alive in human existence, you know, and there's always a purpose behind that, you know. And I always felt that the right words at the right time were just enough, because words could hurt, you know, especially, you know, if people belittle you. But if there's one word where anybody could just give somebody a second breath or a breath of fresh air, where they could just sort of recover, then I think we did the show right. That's my point of the show. But it's nice to get a little backstory about everybody on who they are before you actually get that right word. You know what I mean? Or else we'll just write another book where it's only your right words. Okay, who are you? What's your right words? Okay. But
I would like to hear one of your words.
Oh, sorry about that, Mr. Director.
Do you have any right words?
The right words at the right time?
Yeah.
What's yours?
Yeah, come on, man. I don't think I've ever given the right words at the right time, because I said
Do it now. Do it now then.
Now should be the right time. Is there ever a right time?
No, but I could be fair to you guys and the audience, you know. Well, it's a complicated subject for me, because I never really was asked that question. I was always the one asking that question. The first time I ever asked that question was to actor Richard Roundtree. It was 2009. I was on set of Collar, and it was a reshoot in upstate New York. I was an intern for Willie Gilly Productions. And Rebecca De Mornay was recast into the show. Tom Sizemore was recast into the show. I got to meet everybody. I got their autographs. But one of the DPs, they came up to me and they asked me, "You're an actor?" I'm like, kind of. What's going on? I'm the intern. We need somebody to read with Richard Roundtree to get him ready for going up on camera. I'm like, I'm your guy. Yes. So of course, like I got to rehearse and prepare Richard Roundtree, Shaft, like the actor. And the first time I ever saw the guy, I just see a guy coming through the window, just smoking a cigar, just looking through the auditorium. And I'm like, who the heck is that guy? And then, fast forward, I got to talk to him a little bit, and I did ask him the right words at the right time. Like how, like, cause he's a seasoned guy. This guy's been doing it for decades, and he's well known. Across the board. And of course, at the time, I definitely wanted to know everything I could. I'm a sponge. I'm soaking everything up. He gave me the right words at the right time, where he specifically told me to go to New York and study your craft. And sure enough, later on that year, I got to audition for the New York Conservatory of the Dramatic Arts, and I got in. And later on, it led to me training at the Neighborhood Playhouse. I was able to take his advice. But when you fast forward, like now almost 15 years, I'm very, like, I guess as an actor, I've always been very good at listening and doing what I'm told. But I've learned so much about this art form where I pretty, like, I don't know everything, but I know a shit ton where I could get us through a scene. And he was right. Had I not gone to New York and I learned, had I not moved to New York City and created all of this and all that time in between, I learned more outside of school that I could contribute to this art form. Because I guess with all that experience that I've gained this far, there's volume and a lot of volume of whatever this acting energy is that comes through. And I know how to work with the tools. I've had some great mentors, some great coaches, enough experience, but man, I feel rusty, I haven't really done it. But I guess if I were to have the right words at the right time, where it's coming from me. It's okay to be brave. And holy shit, it's going to make me cry, dude. You're going to get confused. You're not going to know if you're doing the right thing for a long time. Everything is always going to start as an idea. But when I say it's okay to be brave, it's because not that it's your overall purpose or your destiny to be this one key essential element to the whole storyline of reality. We are conduits, I believe that, and sometimes there's no such thing as an original idea. But I'm not the first person who said, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's put together a filmmaking club." There's no way I'm the first. No, but I guess I was just brave enough to go as far as we've gone thus far, and I can appreciate that. But holy shit, it sucks. Because when you grow up and you just really start living your life, you're gonna get some wins along the way. There's a lot of things that you're gonna find along the way that you could really be proud of, but you're gonna know what it's like to lose, and you're gonna really, really know what it's like to feel loss and really feel defeat. But for those people who are actually experiencing those things, it may not be the end. And that's why I say it's okay to dare, it's okay to be brave, because mark my words, you are going to you are going to lose at some point. It's part of the process. But it's not because it makes for a great comeback story, but and it's not a matter of sacrifice where you lost something or where it's indefinite, because honestly you don't know what the future is going to hold, whether there's reconciliation or redemption or anything like that. And it's I only say it's okay to be brave because I do know what it's like to personally lose everything you ever had, and not knowing if I was doing the right thing. like, the only reason I started, like, I started the Astoria Filmmakers Club is because, like, my wife and I, like, I was in a position where I felt like I wasn't doing enough. You know, she's not an actress. She was a school teacher, later became a manager at Apple. And for me, like, I tried other things to just see where I fit, but I've always come back to this for some reason, even when I quit and I'm back, but I never did it as hard or as like ultimate commitment as I ever could up until now. But it came at the expense of my marriage, and I lost everything because I feel like the money wasn't there. My career is not there. There's no accomplishments there. And I quit. I was ready to throw in the towel. This whole thing shouldn't be here right now. I talked to the board of directors, man, and we want, like I said, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. I can't keep going. We registered with the state. We tried to dissolve the company, but it didn't work. It took over a year of that process. And of course, I had second thoughts about canceling this whole thing. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, okay, now I'm stuck with this fucking thing, but I don't have my marriage. I don't have my cats. I don't even have my apartment anymore. What do? I don't know what I did differently, but I just kind of like, I think I got just not bitter, but just enraged, where I just went Super Saiyan mode, where I just said to hell with the consequences. If it works, if it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I tried to do the bravest thing I could think of and just commit to it. And see, like, what was it worth it? And I don't know yet, because I didn't know the film festival was going to work out as well as it did, but it did. And I just thought maybe if I had just a little bit more time, you know, it would not have cost me like 5 years of my life for my marriage, where it would have been all worth it. And I could have shared this with her. And that was the biggest thing for me, because even prior to meeting her, like in my mid-20s, dude, acting wasn't working. I never had money. I never had a good job, like nothing really to be proud of. And like, you know, and I felt so guilty for so long for even accepting a nude scene in a job, because it really broke her heart that I would even do a job like that. And I felt so guilty for being an actor, because it's just like, I didn't know who else to be. That's why I always hated acting so much, because it's like, who the fuck am I supposed to be? Like, if I can't even be myself, what am I supposed to do? What am I for? And then that's the other thing. Like, I never just felt worthy of being a leader of this club. Like, I can't even call it that, of a group of people just trying to find their way. And now we have a streaming platform, and I just feel like I'm going as hard, not reckless, but as hard as I can go. Like, with every ounce of my fucking strength. And holy shit, I don't get to talk to anybody about this stuff. But what I can say, it's okay to be brave, because like, it's going to take a lot of courage and sacrifice, so many things are going to be out of your control. But I think if you have the right intention and the right motive, I think it'll all work out for the best.
Yeah, I think sacrifice is like the right word. Like, to really make it, it's to really have big results one day. Like, there's so much sacrifice, and I think we have to find a way to enjoy that sacrifice and really like enjoy all the hard work. And like, you know, either you are performing in front of like 1 people or 1,000, you need to put the exact same hard work into it and sacrifice everything to then really get to your goals. And before things start working even just a little bit, there's so much work
to get something. You know, you kind of have to almost offer something else in exchange. You can't have your cake and eat it too. But I appreciate you for opening your heart and being honest, right? Because that's what we do as artists. We hold a mirror up to the audience, right? It sounds a little pretentious, but like that's what we do. Have you ever looked at a piece of painting and been moved? Have you ever watched a movie and wanted to change your life drastically? Have you ever, you know? So thank you for being completely honest.
Absolutely.
You're welcome.
And you got to find that passion, because clearly it stuck with you even through all those hardships, even through every no. And again, both my parents I've watched them break down. I've watched them lose jobs. I've watched it all, and they wouldn't trade it for the world, because it's who they are. And they know that they're out here telling stories for people who need them, who can't process the emotions without watching it in front of them. And it's what gives them life. It's what makes them happy, and what makes me happy, telling stories and communicating with other artists, like we got the chance on Monster, and even today with you, Phil. This is what it's about. It is really about finding your sense of community wherever it is, because there is always someone out there who just got the biggest no of their life, who needs that. And it's, even when you get that no, you thank your lucky stars, because there is love out there for you, and you can create it, and you can find it, and you can give it to others.
Well said.
Yeah, I think in filmmaking, it kind of. I always loved movies, man. Like, because I'm sure my whole life, and you guys can relate, where there was always something that really just stuck with you, and that carried with you to be a better version of yourself, or become the absolute version of yourself, if we ever get there. And I really think that by even creating and making movies, then we're actually sort of like continuing a tradition of film, this art form for the next generation, and just sort of create. We have a culture now called film history. Think about that. At one point, it's just like they're just like, it's just lights and images, and now at this point, it's just like. It's a culture, and it leaves such. I think it leaves such a dent on human history, because I don't think anything like this has been done in all of existence before, and to be a part of that, that's actually, I don't know, it's kind of cool.
I think it's just thanks to technology, but storytelling, it's always been part of human history. That's exactly why it's so important, I think, still today, because since the beginning, through drawings or through writing, storytelling has always been there. And then with theater, and then we got to a point that just with technology, we could do movies. So, and it's super important, how, the history of movies and this culture. But I think that the core, the heart of it is that storytelling has always been humans first, art, I don't know how to say this in English. I'm losing my words, but you know what I mean.
Say it in Italian, and I'm sure we will understand you.
We'll get we'll get the editor to Google Translate, and then just
Exactly.
So
Okay.
somebody translate in the comments of the podcast section, and just that's what you meant. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Special
No,
what
I was trying to say was just that storytelling has always been so important in the history of humanity as the first form of art, period.
I think you're right. Just very well may be, and maybe it's storytelling that makes people human. It's a unique trait that maybe, to our knowledge, that only we do. The method we do it, technology, that's always different, but even our technology influences storytelling.
That's the thing. Yeah, for sure.
This right here are two little puppets, and you can teach your kid, where it's just A and B. And you kind of see that there's, the funny thing is about Sharpies, and I'm not the biggest fan about the subject of race or subject of gender, but at the same time, even though you see a dynamic on the outside of these two different Sharpies, they're both labeled exactly the same. But when you actually see what's on the inside, they're actually both black. They both write in black. You probably can't tell from this angle, but even though the purple case, just little things like that, where it's just two different stories, but it's could probably go on forever, just make good shit, don't be a dick, and be nice, and have a great day. How about that?
There we go.
Yeah.
Can we keep it
Really
that simple? Yeah, don't be. And I've heard that so many times from so many people saying, all right, cool, just don't be that. Okay, I can do that. I got to say, I think I needed that. I've been so bottled up, and yesterday was such a tremendous event. And I have no idea like when this podcast is going to be released, but I'm really looking forward to meeting you guys in person, seeing your work. God knows down the road, even work together. You never know. Yeah. Before we wrap up, was there anything else you wanted to add?
I just want to say again, thank you for having us and sharing your story. It actually did move me. It did speak to me. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, molto bene.
Yes, same. Thank you so much for having us, and thank you so much for like our wonderful conversation and being so vulnerable and allow us to be as honest.
You're welcome, and thank you.
And thank you for the community that we now get to be a part of.
Yeah, join the club.
Absolutely.
900 and change.
There we go. I'm in Roosevelt Island, so I could kind of throw a stone.
I delivered pizza there so many times. Like before, like in 2014, 15, and parts of 16, coming down to the island.
Oh yeah.
Tony, shout out to Tony. She created the Roosevelt Island Film Festival not too long ago. So I think they're doing very well. I understand the hustle and grind, but yeah, I do. I like Roosevelt Island. Just a little lighthouse community with the Skyrim, one little fire department at the end of the line, but just a nice little island of stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't be broke to live there, that's for sure. So congratulations on that.
Well, we're working on it.
Thank you guys all for coming. Love to see you at the next meeting, and I'm going to leave you all with this. So wherever you go, whatever you do, always remember to never forget community, creativity, and joy.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you much.
Ciao, Bella. Ciao,
Ciao. Ciao.
Adios, amigos. And we'll see you next time.
See you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.